All right, welcome back, West Coast. Jeff Johnson here. You're tuned in to Long Beach Radio. And lots of people excited about this. Had a couple of phone calls for you already this morning, Shirley, going, where the heck is Shirley?
Fans.
Yeah, people impatient to hear from you. Mm-hmm. And I guess this, let's just set up who you are, first of all, before we talk about your book, which is about kind of where we are. Shirley, how long have you been living here?
15 years.
15 years on the West Coast, which is longer than most, and you're taking off pretty quick.
I am.
All right, you're heading. I've kind of got a little backstory.
I've got a plan A. I haven't got a plan B, and that involves just visiting family for a while, going away for the winter for a while, coming back to Victoria eventually. Well,
Victoria is not a bad place to come back to.
Mellow.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Shirley, we're here, I guess, mostly to talk about a book that you've had published, and I get the impression that this is like one of the first ones in existence. This came off the press a few days ago.
Exactly. I went down to Victoria to pick it up on Saturday, and the first time I held it in my hands, you see it on the computer when you're setting it up and making corrections, but I was happy to hold turtle in my hands.
The picture, or the book's called Road's End, Tales of Tofino, and it has a picture of local character, legend. I don't know how you prefer to refer to him, but Turtle.
All of the above and some of the below you haven't mentioned.
Yeah, there's some. I've got some Turtle stories of my own that could have probably ended up in this book. But stories about Tofino people and Tofino events and the kind of the Tofino lifestyle. And one of the ones that I just kind of personally connected to right away, because I've got this tiny little Volkswagen car, and I hate all the people. I shouldn't say I hate people, but I have a difficult time getting into a lot of the acreage type units that are along the highway. My little Volkswagen, especially in the winter. So deviant driveways is kind of an interesting one, because there's a lot of sketchy little bits of road.
Well, deviant driveways actually turned up as a kind of a satire on how difficult it is to find anybody's address, and that you can't look down the driveway and see if you've got the right house. And so I did a takeoff on it as if I was quoting the learned professor and catching him up on some of the details and adding others. So that one started off with actually Greg Blanchette, who still writes for the Tofino Time. So it's not exactly an original. It's the only one that is taken off from someone else.
A little of an adaptation.
Well,
that's cool. There's actually a lot of stories in here. It looks like a couple dozen of them. All short stories.
They're all, I call them extended anecdotes or vignettes, and they're about someone, for example, who was hit by lightning 3 times and survived. Another one about someone who parked a little bit too long when he was in the McQuina, having just 1 beer, 2 beer, turned into more, and someone stole his car out front, took off, and went out of control and drove into what is now the Tofino Sea Kayaking building just around the corner. And, of course, there's my favorite is about Rosita, the pet chicken of someone who used to own the Alleyway Cafe. And someone stole her chicken and took it out for a night on the town at the McQuina. An adventure.
So, for the most part, these are true or inspired by true events that
I call it in brackets mostly true.
Yeah. That's the best kind of true.
Exactly. It started off as it was going to be called Amazing But True Tales from Tofino. But as soon as you say amazing but true, people think they're false. Yeah. So I decided to not do that.
You don't play up the true, because based on actual events can mean just about anything.
That's right.
So you just fantasy and reality, I think, are quite interchangeable for the most part, especially as soon as you get into
these are pretty real. People will read these about people they know, people they see every day. I mean, Turtle on the cover was my inspiration really for the second story I wrote for the book. And he is thrilled to be on the cover. Adrian Dorst took the photograph, and it's a beauty. And I went down I found him on his boat yesterday, and he was thrilled, and he was glad to sit and autograph a bunch of books for me.
So are those particular books going to be available?
They're available now at Mermaid Tales and Wildside Booksellers. I'm going down to Yuki today to put it at Wild Heather Books.
Wild Heather. Cool.
And I'm going to try and see if some other places around town will take the book as well. And if you see me on the street, you can buy it from me directly.
We'll sell books. Yeah, no, it's you say there's a lot of people. There's also going to be a lot of places in this that people recognize.
A lot of places.
I noticed the Common Loaf Bake Shop has its very own tale.
Exactly. I mean, it's like a character in the book. That place.
It's a character in many ways.
It's a character.
Sure. Cool, very cool. Lots of beautiful illustrations too. Actually, I just turned it to the Common Loaf Bake Shop, and there's a great illustration with a young girl playing guitar on the porch, and kind of what you'd expect. I don't know about the bear creeping around on the deck there.
Well, she sort of the illustrator kind of incorporated a lot of the other stories into that illustration. But the illustrator is Shannon McWhinney, who's the art instructor at the Ucluelet High School, and people might recognize her name as the person who did the Whale Fest poster
for last year
for 2009.
I've got a lovely framed copy of that picture at home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? I mean, this seems like a really excellent.
I can only say that I was very happy to hear. I sold a couple of books, and people started reading them immediately and started chuckling immediately, and it just made me feel good.
That's good. Well, that's the nice thing about a book presented like this is that it's a quick, casual experience like this. A series of small stories. The book itself can't be 150 pages long, and you put a dozen stories in there. It's light, and I think it's something that you can refreshingly come back to, leave laying on the table.
Absolutely, and what it is, I hope it's going to be. I hope it becomes a Tofino classic.
Yeah, there's a lot of great writers around here, and it would be definitely excellent to be counted.
And there's a whole bunch more in my head. Tofino, I say in my little blurb that there's more characters per square inch in Tofino than practically any other place I know. So I've got a long list.
Well, one of the stories here I just noticed is Tofino the Magnet, and it is a cultural thing that draws quite a mix of human beings.
Right.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, thanks, Shirley. Again, the books are available locally at both bookstores. The
Wildside Booksellers and Mermaid Tales.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully soon.
And hopefully in Ucluelet, and hopefully in a few other outlets as well.
Groovy. Well, thanks for coming in, Shirley.
My pleasure.
Any tunes you'd like to hear after I get through the weather forecast?
Well, I'm a jazz fan, but I don't know if you've got any jazz on stream here.
I'll find something for you. Here, I'll throw us up to a quick